Modi's 5-day, 3-nation foreign tour, which took him to Brussels, Washington, D.C., and Riyadh, began on 30th March and ended on 3rd April. During a day-long visit to Brussels, his first official visit to the Belgium capital, which is also the headquarters of the European Union, Modi said that India stood fully in support and solidarity with the Belgian people following the March 22nd terror attacks. He said India has not bent before terrorism and will never do so. During his visit, Prime Minister met European Council President Donald Tusk and President of European Commission Jean-Claude Juncker in the Belgian capital. Modi left terror-struck Brussels for Washington to attend the 4th Nuclear Security Summit after attending the 13th India-European Summit that concluded by underlining their commitment to strengthen their strategic and economic partnership. He was greeted by enthusiastic members of the Indian community in Washington, D.C. Modi, while attending a leaders-only thematic dinner hosted by US President Barack Obama to discuss how to prevent terrorists and other non-state actors from gaining access to nuclear materials, warned global leaders from over 50 nations gathered there that state actors working with nuclear traffickers and terrorists present the greater risk. In what was seen as an unmistakable reference to Pakistan, Prime Minister also gave a call to drop the notion that terrorism is someone else's problem and that his terrorist is not my terrorist. In Washington, Prime Minister Modi also held bilateral meetings with his New Zealand and Canadian counterparts, John Key and Justin Trudeau, respectively. After Washington, Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited Riyadh on a 2-day bilateral visit to Saudi Arabia on the 3rd and final leg of his 3-nation tour, where he was received at the King Khalid International Airport by Riyadh Governor Prince Faisal bin Bandar Al Saud. Modi was accorded an official welcome by King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud in a reflection of deepening bilateral ties. India and Saudi Arabia agreed to further strengthen cooperation in the fight against terror, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi assured Saudi and Indian businessmen that the goods and services tax will be rolled out soon. Here, Modi was conferred with the Gulf Kingdom's highest civilian honor, the King Abdulaziz Sash. Modi and King Salman called on all states to reject the use of terrorism against other countries and dismantle terrorism infrastructures where they happen to exist. Both the leaders also discussed regional and international issues of mutual interest, including the security situation in West Asia, Middle East, and South Asia. 5 agreements were also signed between the two countries, including ones on labor cooperation and sharing intelligence on terror financing and money laundering. He visited the historic Masmek fortress that was constructed during Muhammad bin Abdullah bin Rashid's reign and came under King Abdulaziz's rule, when Riyadh was conquered in 1902. Modi also visited an all-women IT center set up by India's Tata Consultancy Services and described it as the glory of Saudi Arabia. Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited Tehran in Iran on 22nd and 23rd May. He was given ceremonial welcome by President Hassan Rouhani in Tehran, where India and Iran took a major step in boosting connectivity and trade with the inking of the Chabahar Port Agreement on Transport and Transit Corridor by India, Iran and Afghanistan. The two sides also signed 12 agreements, including on science and technology, culture and railways, and 3 on the port itself. Modi also offered prayers at the Bhai Ganga Singh Sabha Gurudwara and promised a large-scale celebration of Guru Gobind Singh's 350th birth anniversary. During his visit, Prime Minister, praising the Persian heritage, said, "The beauty and richness of the Persian heritage has attracted the world to Iran." Prime Minister during his visit also called on Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Sayyid Ali Khamenei. The meeting assumes significance because Khamenei rarely meets visiting world leaders. The Prime Minister again embarked on a 5-nation tour that took him to Afghanistan, Qatar, Switzerland, the US and Mexico on June 4th. In Herat inaugurated the Afghan-India Friendship Dam, earlier known as Salma Dam, along with Afghan President Ashraf Ghani. The dam has been rebuilt with Indian assistance. He also visited the Indian consulate in Herat that had come under a terror attack in May 2014 and interacted with consular staff, and then left for Doha, Qatar. In Qatar, Prime Minister Narendra Modi was received by Prime Minister Abdullah bin Nasir bin Khalifa Al Thani and was also accorded a ceremonial welcome at the Emiri Diwan. He held talks with Qatar Emir Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, taking forward bilateral ties with an important Gulf Cooperation Council member. Following the talks, India and Qatar signed 7 agreements, including on investment and tourism promotion. He also met business leaders in Qatar and invited them to do business in India. India and Qatar decided to address the menace of global terrorism through a comprehensive approach to stop flow of foreign terrorism, dismantle terrorism infrastructures, and counter terror propaganda through internet, among other things. From Doha, Prime Minister departed for Geneva, the third leg of his journey. Here in Switzerland, he pitched India's economic growth story to attract investment from the country that is India's 5th largest trade partner and 11th largest investor. During Modi's visit, Switzerland pledged its support to India's entry into the elite 48-member Nuclear Trading Nations Club, called Nuclear Suppliers Group, for which India has been lobbying hard for years. With Switzerland's support, Modi has scored a big diplomatic victory. After holding bilateral talks with Switzerland President Johann Schneider-Eman, Prime Minister Narendra Modi left for the US. Modi went to the US at the invitation of President Barack Obama, who in the last year of his presidency had invited a few world leaders with whom he shared a close and productive working relationship. Modi and US President Barack Obama held bilateral talks, following which a number of agreements signed, including one on US firm Westinghouse building 6 nuclear power plants in India. Besides, he also met Indian and US business leaders and addressed a joint sitting of the US Congress. Modi, in his much anticipated speech at a joint sitting of the US Congress, described US as indispensable partner of India and stated that a strong India is in the strategic interest of the US. He urged the members of the US Congress to send a clear message to those who preach and practice terrorism for political gains. After wrapping up his visit to the US, Prime Minister Narendra Modi left for Mexico for the 5th and final leg of his 5-nation tour. During Modi's visit, Mexican President Enrique Pena Nieto extended his country's support, saying Mexico supports positively and constructively India's membership of the NSG. India and Mexico have agreed to elevate their privileged partnership into a strategic one. Both sides discussed ways to boost trade and investment. President Nieto invited Modi to visit Mexico again on a state visit in the near future, and Modi too invited him to pay a state visit to India. Later, President Nieto took Modi out for a flavor of Mexican vegetarian fare and in a special gesture personally drove him to a restaurant. On 23rd June, Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited Uzbekistan capital Tashkent to attend the 2-day Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit and was welcomed by Uzbek Prime Minister Shavkat Mirziyoyev. On the sidelines of the summit, he met with Chinese President Xi Jinping regarding India's membership in SCO. After his about an hour-long meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping, Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a bilateral with Uzbekistan President Islam Karimov, and both the nations took note of their growing defense cooperation and called for enhanced security ties. However, India's wait for a coveted nuclear suppliers growth membership continues, even after 8 years of lobbying, as China foiled its latest bid on the grounds that New Delhi has not signed the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty.